incorporating Hebrew into homeschool. Now, this is something that we've been doing recently, adding this, and I just wanted to share some of the things that we've been doing. Now, honestly, my husband has pushed me to do to make sure that I'm incorporating Hebrew and biblical studies into homeschool, because oftentimes I will slack and forget, or just get caught up with the basic learning that I will slack on the Hebrew and things like that. So he pushes me to make sure that I'm doing that. Honestly, it's not always received, but it's definitely, the push is definitely necessary and it's needed. So without that push, I would be slacking. So anyway, these are some of the things that we've recently been doing, and I've just made up these flashcards here. Just basic flashcards words that I want them to have in their vocabulary, words that we can use to in everyday life and just what we're doing. So these are just basic things that are in scripture and that we can use in everyday life. So just these are some of the basic flashcards that I will end up making more, but for now, these are the ones that I want to focus on. So of course, this is a boy, so yalad. You have a table, which is shalachan. These are words that we can incorporate in our everyday life. So fruit, pari. We have tree, lachem for bread, ragal, ayil, and you have the different colors here, and different things. And here I have two pictures. This is obviously a husband and a wife, and isha kind of just kills two birds with one stone. Same thing here. This obviously is a mother and a daughter, so bat. Children, yaladim. Family, mishpachah. This is a father and his son, so Ab and Ban. And these are just things that kind of are basic and we can use in our everyday life. And because that's what we try to do as well. We don't always succeed. Sometimes we completely forget, but we try to use Hebrew words when we're speaking to each other. So of course the basic, like Ban, Bat, Ab, Abba, Ab, Ama, Ima, and Mayim for water, Na for please, lachem, bread, things like this, basic things, basic words that we can use for our everyday conversations and things that we can use to just speak with each other. So we try to do that now, and it's funny because my son, of course, we go over the Hebrew letters and what they mean, and we know Mayim means water and chaos. And my son was asking, he was 2 at the time, asking for trying to ask for water, but he was like, Mama, I want chaos, I want chaos. And I didn't know what he was saying at first, but then I realized, oh, he's asking for water, but he was saying chaos. But I just thought that was so funny, because just how he was putting the two together like that. But at least he's understanding what the words mean, but obviously he was trying to ask for Mayim, so it was funny. But anyway, something else that we're doing is, this is a bingo that I made with Paleo and modern Hebrew letters on them. So I just made several of these for each child, and I made a bunch of these little things I pulled these just randomly, and I asked for, cough, paleo cough, and if they have a paleo cough on the thing, they'll cover it up. If I pull a modern cough, then I'll say modern cough, but it has to be the specific one that I'm calling out. So Bayed, whatever, and they'll put the red thing on there. And we use these just little red squares that we got from another bingo board. So we use that whenever I need something for them to do. If they're being too rowdy, we'll pull the game out or whatever, and they really like the game. Now the flashcards are mainly for the toddlers. The bingo as well, although my daughter has just as much fun with the bingo as the boys do. But what we do for her, she's about to be 10. My husband has given her some of his books that he had in school, some of his biblical Hebrew books that he had in school, and she gets the vocabulary words out of them. She has a list of vocabulary words. She gets the vocabulary words out of the book, and what she does is she writes the English words and then writes the Hebrew words. She just studies them and things like that, writing them over and over, and just studying the words. And how we test her on it is we test her instead of just giving her the Hebrew word and having to give us and giving her the Hebrew word and then having her then give us the English word, we give her all the English words and then she has to give us the Hebrew word for it, because we're testing her not only on making sure that she knows what the Hebrew word is for, but also that she knows how to spell it. So for instance, if it was foot, we would put the word foot on there, and then she would have to put ragal, and she would have to put resh, gimel, lamed. So we're making sure that she knows how to spell it and how to recognize it, because our main focus is her being able to recognize the Hebrew word when she sees it. So it's a little bit harder that way, because she's having to not only spell it right, but making sure she has it all together. So we'll test her, like, just standing up, verbally test her, and then we'll also test her in a written test. So, all right, so these are some of the things that we do try to do. And like I said, sometimes we do forget, and it's not always there, and we often do forget to continue to use the Hebrew words as much as possible around the house. I even wrote some things on the board, things like no problem, patience, stop, help, quickly. I have all the Hebrew words up there for those things, so we can even just start to say those. Like if I'm in here and somebody needs help, they can say the word for help. So I try to incorporate it and have it as much as I can remember, because repetition is really good. Repeating it keeps it on our minds, fresh on our tongue, so that we remember it to say it, and it's always on our minds. So we're thinking it and we're saying it. So I try to do that as much as possible. And like I said, my husband pushes me, because sometimes I do slack, and sometimes I get overwhelmed with, we're trying to teach them everything that, that they want us to teach them, what the system wants us to teach our children, to make sure that they're on top of it, what, the basic things that they need to learn, as well as the things that we're trying to instill in them. So sometimes it is overwhelming trying to fit everything in, but it's absolutely necessary, especially, learning the Hebrew so they can get a better basic understanding of Scripture. Understanding the Hebrew words and their meanings helps them to gain that understanding of Scripture better. So we're trying to do that, and I think it's very helpful. So I hope that was helpful for you all, and shalom.